The political question of the week: are the extremes taking over American politics? After a decade of MAGA, we are witnessing what looks like the liberal version of the Tea Party movement. AOC and Bernie Sanders are attracting tens of thousands at events across America with a populist, anti-establishment message. And in Gotham, a stunning upset. A self-described Democratic socialist beat Andrew Cuomo in the primary for New York City mayor. On the right, Zohran Mamdani is already being called a Marxist, a communist, and is being hit with Islamophobic attacks. And on the left, the party's leaders are stopping short of endorsing him, which AOC says is a mistake. Harry Enten is at the table with us now. Harry, you were with us on primary night this week. And just for a second here, I think we need to reflect on the Andrew Cuomo of it all. And what do you think this says about what Democratic voters in this city said about the strategy of running someone like him for mayor, who resigned in disgrace not so long ago?
Yeah, I mean, look, Andrew Cuomo, as you mentioned, resigned in disgrace. He was someone who, throughout the primary process, was basically running on name recognition, thinking back to the good old days of Andrew Cuomo, at least in the minds of Democratic voters, the type of guy who, of course, gave those COVID press conferences, but was always weak on the favorable scale. And I always thought that there was a possibility that there would be someone who would come up and challenge him for the nomination. Now, if you were to tell me that it was going to be the Democratic socialist, I might have said, wait a minute, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case. So I think it's important to note that, look, Mamdani ran an excellent campaign, excellent, you know, foot's on the ground, great social media strategy, but I don't think you can look at him without also acknowledging that his main opponent was a flawed individual. That being said, look, we're at a point now in Democratic Party politics in which the electorate, both in New York City and nationwide, is fed up. We spoke about it on Tuesday night. We're talking about 62% of Democrats nationwide who say they want to replace their party leadership. We are talking about a record percentage of Democrats nationwide who disapprove of their party leaders in Congress. None of this is happening in a vacuum. What happened in New York City, while the idea of necessarily electing a Democratic socialist may not hold true in the rest of the country, the idea of throwing out the bums, as the Democratic voters view it, that is absolutely true.
He's right. What he's saying right now makes perfect sense in a lot of ways. I think, to me, this election not necessarily is, to me, it's an indictment on how people are feeling. And if voters are like, I'm tired of picking between the lesser of two evils. Let's try something better. Let's try something different. I think it's really disappointing that the Democratic Party isn't supporting him in the way in which I feel like they should. But I think nationwide people are, to your point, Harry, fed up and getting smart about who they decide to choose. And social media plays a huge role. I saw Eric Adams today on social media trying his best to be relevant, trying his best to talk about streaming as if someone just invented it. And he was like, you know, and we'll see what happens. And maybe, and I'm like, oh God, he's so out of touch. and I know why he thinks he needs to go to streaming and be a part of this. But you're telling the people, I will tell you, my neighbors, I don't vote in New York. I am not from here. I'm from California. But my neighbors are, thank you. And our neighbors are saying, who should I vote for? What do you think about Cuomo? I just really don't want to vote for him. I really am not into it. I just don't, he was fine during COVID, but he's so flawed. I don't really want to vote for him. People were really deciding between the lesser of two evils. And I think this is a promise.
Well, it's funny that Abby started this with Gotham City because Batman was a billionaire, Bruce Wayne, and the Joker and Bane. I'm making a joke, but the movie references this about giving it back to the people and taking power away from the billionaires, right? I'm going to read you a tweet here from Spencer Hackeman, who's a venture capitalist. He said, you want to know why Zohran Mamdani and Donald Trump keep winning and Andrew Cuomo and Hillary Clinton keep losing? It's because real income hasn't grown in this country for over 50 years. And he cites Federal Reserve economic data that points to the 1980s, because I know there's a data guy sitting next to me, and the score was 335 for adjusted dollars. Now it's at 348 over a 45-year period. That is terrible. That means people's salaries are not rising. And what happens is, back to that tweet, we start to hear some of these wild proposals that when you drill into a policy perspective, why we talked about this, the grocery store idea, how is that going to be implemented? How is that going to rupture capitalism for small business owners that own bodegas and things like that?
It's just new.
It's just new, and people want to hear that, and they try it out, just like MAGA was new, and people hear that, and they want to try it out. We keep looking at this. Those are the answers.
There was an analysis in Gothamist that found that Mamdani won 30% of the primary election districts that Trump won in the 2024 general election and garnered over 35,000 votes in districts that went to Trump. So Trump has always touted doing better in New York than any Republican in quite some time. And there is something about Mamdani and even his out there proposals that actually kind of rings like Trumpism. You know, when people were like, he was like, no taxes on tips, no taxes on all this other stuff, everybody was like, that's not really gonna happen. He's just saying that. People expected him to do it, and now he's trying to do it. And I do think that Trumpism has basically made a lot of voters think, why the heck not?
I mean, he wants to empty the jails of violent criminals. He wants to defund the police. He says violence is an artificial construct, and he would like to tax you based on your race.
Just to be clear,
these are not mainstream political thoughts.
Trump pardoned 1,600 people who stormed the Capitol. So when we talk about outlandish things when it comes to law and order,
if you want Gotham City to be overrun by these criminals, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, Scott, my point is only that, like,
he's running on it, not me. I'm just reporting it.
My point is only that when Trump when he pushes the envelope on economic policy, on things like pardons, you can't be surprised when voters are like, well, if they're going to do that on the right, then why can't we do the same on the left?
That's exactly what the voters are saying.
Do you think we should tax people based on their race?
No, but I definitely don't think 1,600 people should have been pardoned on January 6th. That's exact. So you tell me the difference.
You guys get your January 6th stuff. I'll wait.
Oh, gosh.
We'll wait.
Where in his campaign and he said he's taxing people based on race?
Statement today. Said he wants to shift the tax burden. He said he wants to shift the tax burden to white neighborhoods.
He did say that?
Yeah, it's on his website. I looked it up. It's there.
It's there, and it's bad, and I just don't think you can compare some of these things that he has said to what Trump has done. Trump is running on basic mainstream Republican conservative stuff. This is completely outside the mainstream of American politics.
Let me give you another example. Trump wants to withhold disaster relief funding from blue states. Cool with you?
That's not true.
He literally
he said that. What are you talking about?
He actually said that, and actually
in particular
tried to do it as president. So I'm just look. My only point is that when politicians push the envelope, as Trump is the most successful politician to push the envelope in virtually every arena of political life.
Correct.
This is what we talk about when you say the extremes on both sides.
You're saying that
the voters are basically saying, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
That's it.
And when they say why not on the right, it looks like Donald Trump. When they say why not on the left, it looks like Zoran Mamdani.
Why is it so different? Why does this bother you? I don't understand. She said that's a really good point. Two extremes. What is this?
Why does it bother me that New York City might be run by a radical socialist?
Why do you not see the policy connection?
Why doesn't it bother you?
Why do you not see the policy connection?
I don't even live here and it bothers me.
Why do you not see the policy connection?
Because
you're saying these are not two extremes. Donald Trump is not an extreme, as he is an extreme as well. You're saying that?
I don't think Donald Trump is an extremist. He won the national popular vote.
Oh gosh, you always say that.
I'll just say this. I think the door is wide open for extremes on both ends of the political spectrum. The unfavorable ratings that Democrats have of Republicans are at or near an all-time high. The unfavorable ratings that Republicans have of Democrats are at or near an all-time high. And more than that, we have more Democrats identifying as liberal than ever before, according to Gallup. More Republicans identifying as conservative, I believe, ever, according to Gallup. And so the barn door is wide open for folks on either end of the political spectrum. Things that we would have dismissed 30 years ago as gobbledygook, they can now go and be openly seen.
It is a new era. I mean, a lot of people are talking about moderation and being in the middle, but voters are kind of saying something different in some cases. In some cases, not in all, of course. Coming up next for us, President Trump really wants that Nobel Peace Prize, and Don Jr. thinks that there is a reason that he doesn't have one. But President Obama does. Affirmative action. We'll discuss.